everyone. It's Kathleen Rose, and this is the centennial version, number 2, of the Presidential Podcast. Happy holidays. Well, it's finals week has come and gone, and the campus is fairly quiet. But I wanted to get one more podcast in before we all leave for our long winter's nap. This is the Looking Back and Looking Forward podcast, and I'm here today with some really special guests. I have today with me Cecilia Ponzini from the Edward Boss Prado Foundation and John Horner, who's on her board, to talk about a very special scholarship that we are going to be awarding this next year through Gavilan College through a very generous donation from the Edward Boss Prado Foundation. And I also will have Sherrean Carr and Derrick Pearson Jr. here to talk about how important these scholarships are, particularly for low unit certificate awardees here at Gavilan, and just the importance of low unit certificate programs that we have here. And then I'll also have Kim Benjamin from our financial aid office to talk about how do you apply for scholarships at Gavilan. It's important that we talk about this now in December, because soon it's going to be scholarship application time. And as we get into the spring semester, and when our students are starting to think about where they're going from here, this is the time to do that. So before we get off for the holidays, this is our season of giving. And so welcome today to the Presidential Podcast. Stay tuned. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Presidential Podcast. So I'm very, very fortunate today to have two incredibly special guests with me in the spacious podcast booth, and that is Cecilia Ponzini and John Horner. So Cecilia Ponzini, it's probably a name that's very familiar to you if you live in this area. You know Cecilia Ponzini as the founder of the Edward Boss Prado Foundation. You also know that she's an extreme force of nature in our community. She has offered a number of programs for many years, particularly focused on helping young individuals and their families thrive in educational environments and in our community. And she's here today to talk a little bit about her foundation and about a special scholarship for Gavilan College students. And John Horner is here because he serves on her board and has served on the board for a number of years. He also wears several other hats. And so we don't have enough time in this podcast to really talk about all of John Horner's hats, but he is the head of the Morgan Hill Chamber of Commerce. He's also a board member for the Morgan Hill Unified School District. He also serves on a couple of committees here at Gavilan College, the Latino Advisory Committee and others. So thank you both for being here today at the podcast. We're happy you're here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Cecilia, tell our listeners a little bit about your foundation. When was it established? Why was it established?
The Edward Boss Prado Foundation was established February 3rd, 2013. It was established in honor of my beloved son, Edward Boss Prado. He passed away at the age of 29 in 2003.
And I know after the foundation was established, it started with a cause based on the character of your son and who your son was. And so what did you start to do in the community at the very beginning with your foundation?
My son was very caring for others. We started a program at the high school, at Prado High School and Live Oak, and it's called No Child Goes Unfed. We pay for all the lunches for the students that cannot afford it.
And so, John, you've been on the board for the Edward Boss Prado Foundation for a number of years, right?
Yeah, actually, was one of the founding board members and surviving board members. Still very engaged with that. She keeps us all very busy.
Yeah, well, I do know that about Cecilia. So once you're a board member for life, or certainly an active board member. So why did you become involved in the foundation?
It's actually the only board I joined. My day job and my other roles keep me plenty busy. But when Cecilia asked me, I couldn't say no. And why I couldn't say no is because her approach to everything is to treat clients and other individuals with respect and dignity. That shows up in a lot of different ways, but in a world where papers, please has become a kind of a terrifying punchline, that isn't how this foundation works at all. It's about treating each other as fellow human beings, and if somebody's in need, that doesn't make them any less of a human being than somebody who isn't in need. So really that core commitment to treating everyone with respect and dignity caused me to want to free up some time to do what I could to support her leadership and her efforts.
Absolutely. That has certainly been my experience of Cecilia and the programs as well. So please tell me, either of you, the range of programs now that have grown through the foundation since its inception in 2013.
We have a total of 15 programs, flagship programs. No Child Goes Unfed is in 2 high schools in Morgan Hill, Sobrato and Live Oak, 2 high schools in Gilroy High and Christopher. That program, we pay for all the lunches for the students that cannot afford it. Walking with Dignity in every elementary school in Morgan Hill. We provide gift cards for the families to purchase their children brand new shoes, no questions asked. We never find out who the children are. We provide $1,000 worth of gift cards at the beginning of the year, and the teacher has a relationship. She goes to the office, she writes her name, the gender of the child, and when the adult, the guardian or the parent comes, she simply gives them the gift card, and it's called Walking with Dignity. Let's see, another program. Cecilia's Closet and Food Pantry is one of our flagship programs. Every Tuesday, we serve families in need. There are referrals from Community Solutions, Learning and Loving Center, and the whole school district. The families come through appointments only and are able to get food and clothing for the whole family, and anything else they need, we usually can find it.
So I'll tell you that this theme of the whole family is one reason why I got to know Cecilia. And a few years ago, we were very, very privileged and honored to award Cecilia an honorary degree from Gavilan College because of this type of philanthropy, where she does not ask for anything in return. The foundation does not ask for anything in return except for ongoing community support. And people from the community come out in droves to support the foundation all throughout the year. And visiting the closet, it's obvious to me that there are many, many devoted volunteers. So how many volunteers do you now have, Cecilia?
We have a total of about 14. Any Tuesday we'll have at least 7 or 8. And I've had some of the same volunteers all these years.
That's incredible. That's great. And John, how many are on the board?
The board is 9 now or 10?
Yeah.
10. We had it.
10. That's right. 10. 10 current board members, and each one has different ways they contribute. Several are very active at the closet every week. Others help with the finances. Others with grants. But all of us know when Cecilia calls or texts, you better answer and get on it.
I understand that. In fact, over the last couple of years, I've had a couple of those calls from Cecilia, and that's been really a fantastic thing. It wound up being for Gavilan College. A year ago, Cecilia called me to begin to plant the seeds for what has become our first year in participating in the Prado on the Go scholarships. And so Cecilia and John came to me because they were interested in having students succeed in the career education area, and with a particular interest in something that we had never done before here at Gavilan. In fact, when they came to talk with me about it initially, I was really not sure how we were going to be able to pull it off at Gavilan. But Cecilia is a very persistent individual, and with her idea and her vision, and with John's help, we are so proud to be able to launch the Prado on the Go scholarship this year, particularly for students in low unit career education programs, to allow them to begin, persist, and complete in career education. So could either of you tell me a little bit about why that became such a focus for the foundation, why that was important?
We've been scholarshiping for years. We've given thousands of dollars, and they've been partial scholarships, only to find that we find the kids the youth sometimes working at Subway, and we realized that the money, they would run out of the money, so we thought about it like, let's pay for the whole scholarship and get these kids through so that they can get a job right away. And I think that a lot of students know that they cannot afford to go to school for 2 years. They're not capable of staying in school for that long. So the trade programs will work much better. We'll pay for the whole scholarship and get these young youth on our way. After all, they are our future community leaders. So we really need to get them going.
That's really incredible. And John, you had some ideas about that as well.
Yes, thank you. I've believed for a long time that we need to take a more holistic view of education and training as a community. Much of the emphasis is typically on traditional college degrees, 4 years and beyond, which is a wonderful thing. And yet, if you look at the statistics, over 70% of the adults in our country don't have that. And in my role as a chamber president, what I hear from businesses constantly is we need people with the skills to do the work. And the majority of the time, those people and those skills needed are not advanced degrees, but particular needs. On the other hand, you see so many people in our community that aren't making the money they need to get by, and they're getting by with, minimum wage jobs in food service or retail. So our hope is that through this program, we help people get not from having no job to having some job, but from having a minimal job to getting those additional skills that can be gotten in these various certificate programs. Some take weeks, some take months, some take a few years. But with that little bit of additional effort, the statistics are really strong that they can go on to make much better money and fill these jobs. So it's a win for everyone, and it's a place where not many people are focused. There are many scholarship programs focused on 2-year, 4-year, and further on degrees. So we were looking at what is the unmet need, and given our dedication to those who have the greatest need, what can we do to help get them over the line and toward self-sufficiency and the experience that will hopefully make them be a lifelong learner. They come for a while, they get a better job, maybe in 2 years they get some more skills and further upskill. So that's really the theory behind it, and we hope it works. Well, we're all going to find out.
We're thrilled and delighted about that. And I pulled a list of our low unit certificates to bring today, and we have a number of certificates, 36 credits and under, that will meet this category. And they include things like administration of justice, allied health, aviation maintenance technology, business, cosmetology, digital media, and those are the programs that Cecilia and John know will be areas where there will be employment in our area, in Santa Clara County and beyond. And so we are thrilled with the opportunity to be able to promote this scholarship. So the reason for this special podcast today is to promote the open opportunity for application for the scholarship, for the Prado on the Go scholarship. And later on in the podcast, we're going to tell our students how they can apply for it. So we're really thrilled that you were here today. And before I let you go, what does the future hold for the foundation? What are some of the projects you'll be working on in the months or years ahead?
So right now we're working on our Christmas Toys for Our Own toy drive. Like I said, we have 15 programs, so every month we are busy and on the go. We're in Kaiser Hospital in the emergency room now for the families that maybe don't have the pajamas, they don't have the pants, maybe that homeless person that doesn't have clothing. So there's so much work to do with all these programs. We're just going to keep going.
That's great. Well, I really appreciate both of you taking a little bit of time out, because I know you're right in the middle of the toy drive right now and getting ready to distribute all of those bags of toys out for the end of the week. And so thank you so much for coming in today for the podcast, and happy holidays to you both.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Happy holidays to you as well.
Hi, everyone. It's Kathleen. We're back with our presidential podcast. Wasn't it nice to hear from Cecilia Ponzini and John Horner. I didn't tell you earlier that Cecilia Ponzini was also the Community Spirit Award winner for Gavilan College this last year in Morgan Hill. So she is indeed a force of nature, and she does incredible work in the community in so many ways, shows up for everything, supports everything. She and her board, including John Horner, are great supporters of the Gilroy Morgan Hill area community, and so we're so glad that they are supporters of Gavilan College and our students as well. And the Prado on the Go scholarship is going to make a huge difference for students who are low unit certificate students who are interested in career education. So now I have in my podcast booth, I have Sherrean Carr, who you all know Sherrean Carr, of course, but she is the Dean of Career Education here at Gavilan College, has been a timeless part of our Gavilan community for 30, how many years, Sherrean?
20 years in this position.
20 years in this position, but how many years with the college? 33 years with Gavilan College. And then I'm also very lucky to have her nephew in here as well, Derrick Pearson Jr. And so Derrick Pearson Jr. has a story he's going to tell about how a low unit certificate got him launched into his current career field in water technology. And so, Derrick, we're really happy you're here as well. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're talking about the importance of career education, and Sherrean could talk for the rest of my podcast about how important career education is, but we're not going to let you talk for the rest of my podcast, Sherrean. But for a little bit, we will. And Derrick has an interesting story, I'm told, because he began as a student who started out in a certificate program, and now he's going to be finishing up his AA and walking across the stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Good. At our 100th commencement, I should say, on May 22nd, to get his associate's degree. So why did you switch career fields and go into water?
That's a question that I've had to field from both my fiance, family. Everybody wants to know. It seemed like the last career was going well. I will say that working in hospitality management had its perks. I had my own office. I worked on the beach at this really cool resort.
Nice.
Life was good, but that's on the surface. And beneath the surface, my work-life balance was, for lack of a better term, all screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured it would be nice to jump into a new career, but I didn't think that was something that was available to me as a man in my late 20s, needing to work to survive, as we all do, especially in California where things are so expensive. And so to make a long story short, I met my fiance, who's now my wife, and she urged me to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
She is a former Gavilan student as well, and she said that, why don't you go back to school? I'll take care of the bills for now, and you just focus on that education. And so that was an opportunity that I didn't think I would ever get, and I did get it, and I took full advantage of it. So I, for the most part, I have straight A's and B's, and I have been very successful as a student. And I guess to more answer your question, I felt like Gavilan itself was just the opportunity I needed. And my wife told me that she had a great experience here, and so I decided to follow in her footsteps.
Okay, so we love those stories. We love our alumni. So shout out to your wife. What's her name?
Nicole Botzo.
All right, Nicole. Thank you, Nicole, for telling Derrick that it was time for him to go back to school. So why water?
So, that I'll turn to my other podcast partner here. I had the introduction to Gavilan, and I was like, okay, I can go to Gavilan, but what career do I choose?
Mm-hmm.
And Dean Sherrean Carr here told me that the water program was something interesting. Now, I didn't know about water, and like most of the public, I turned on my faucet, water came out, I flushed the toilet, water went away, and that's all I thought about water. Sherrean told me that there was this whole career behind it and that it could really use people, and there was a silver tsunami and all kinds of retirements, and that all sounded good, but it didn't feel real until I got into my first class and learned about it. And water it just seemed right. I've always been a child of water. I've always loved the water, swimming in it, not necessarily coming from the tap, but either way, I have this affinity towards water, and I feel like if I could make a career in this, that would be great.
So, Sherrean, tell us a little bit about the water technology program, because you were there from the inception of it, and we have not only now a low unit certificate and I keep using that terminology as if it's less than or not quite a holistic certificate, but it is. So you'll tell us a bit about that. And then I know that Derrick went through a year-long internship as well. And I suspect that helped you clinch the job at the end, Derrick. And
100%.
So Sherrean, tell us a little bit about the program.
The program began in 2012. We started off with 2 classes, the intro and the math class. And I was just telling Derrick before this podcast, I said I was looking at the classes that we're now offering. And we're offering probably 10 every semester. It's just blossomed. And students are getting jobs. They're getting careers in water. I hear from students, oh my gosh, thank you. I hear where they're going. They're going all over the state. They're landing really good jobs. It's a great career. And when I'm shopping at the grocery store and people stop me, I tell them, if I had to do it again, I would have gone water. And especially women in water as well. I mean, it is just the plethora of positions available in the water industry is amazing. We currently have 5 certificates in water technology. We have the original water resource management certificate. We have a wastewater collection, wastewater technology, water technology, and water distribution, in addition to the water resource management certificate. So there are lots of opportunities in the water industry with any of these certificates.
And so, Derrick, when you did your internship, did that help you to really solidify what direction you want to go in the water field overall?
That's a great question. So with that internship, it was in drinking water. It was with the Santa Clara Valley Water District, now called Valley Water. And though that organization is all about drinking water, and they themselves don't have wastewater facilities, I was searching for any job in water that I could get. After applying to 28 places, one called back, and after a long interview process, I got it, and it happened to be in wastewater. So that internship was, I guess the benefit is incalculable. It was everything I could talk about in my interviews came from that internship, my familiarity with pumps and millions of gallons a day, just the terminology. I would not have had it not been for the classes here and also for that internship.
Very good. So, Sherrean, low unit certificates, we offer them in a variety of programs. So what do you think the Edward Boss Prado Foundation or the Prado on the Go Scholarship, do you think that will be something that students will likely apply for? Do you think we'll have a lot of folks who will take advantage of this great offer?
I think we have a lot of students in need, and this will be invaluable for their careers and for them pursuing their education. So I think this will give opportunity to many students that need it.
Certificates are kind of a launching pad for going on for other areas of higher education, like it was with you, Derrick, right? Because you decided to go on for your associate's degree after getting your certificate. And what contributed to that decision?
I think what contributed to that was the sort of ease behind taking classes here at Gavilan. It was easy to simply continue. So after earning that certificate, I thought, why not go on for the AA? I think it'll look good on my resume, and it'll probably help me in future career decisions.
And now you've been with your current company for how long?
4 months.
And how's it going?
It's going amazing. I left early today. Thank you to my supervisor, Levi, for allowing me to do that.
Thanks, Levi.
Yes,
That's my
thanks.
grandson's name, so I'll remember your supervisor's name.
So it's going really well. Not 2 hours ago, I was doing chlorine titrations and doing science and doing math with it. And it's exciting that I do this every day. And I'm not tired of it. I can do this for the next 29 and a half years.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So beyond your AA, are you thinking about transferring on and going on for a baccalaureate or not at this time?
I would assume's not the right word. To make a short answer to that, yes, but not right now.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a little bit too busy at work.
Yeah, and that's okay. I think that's the beauty of career education. So many of our students, and Shereen's down there nodding her head, so many of our students go in, they start down the path, and then they get snapped up by employment because that's what these programs are all about, right, Shereen?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they come in, they get the skills that they need, they get employed, and then that's exactly the happy ending that we want. So...
Yes.
Derrick, anything you would like to say to any of our podcast listeners if they were considering coming to Gavilan? Any advice you'd like to give them?
Sure. I think the main advice that I would have wanted coming into this is not to get discouraged. Obviously, Gavilan has a great support network, great staff here, and that's going to help you get along. When you start applying for jobs, especially in the water field, you will have to apply a lot, but do not give up because the jobs are right around the corner. And speaking of that, the day I was hired at this place, another organization called me that same day. So it was a choice between salaries. And actually on Friday, a very large Bay Area company called and they want me too. So I guess when it rains, it pours. But
That's great.
I'm not planning on moving from my current position. I love it there. And, that's the advice I would have is just keep at it.
Congratulations, Derrick.
Thank you.
I will look forward to shaking your hand when you walk across the stage in May when you get your associate's degree. And Shereen, thank you so much for bringing Derrick today to the podcast and for telling us a little bit more about your programs in career education. Happy holidays to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. You as well.
Hi, everyone. We're back for the Presidential Podcast Special Edition, talking about the Prado on the Go scholarships and low unit certificates and student achievement. And it was great to talk to Shereen and Derrick about Derrick's journey as a water technology student, first as a certificate student, and now in his quest to complete his associate's degree by May 2020, which is great. So you've heard a little bit about our low unit certificates. You've heard about the Prado on the Go scholarship and how the foundation set that up. And now I know you want to know, how do you apply? How do you get more information about scholarships overall? And I have the woman with the expertise in the podcast booth with me, and that's Kim Benjamin. She's a senior program specialist in our financial aid office. Thank you, Kim, for being here at the podcast today.
My pleasure.
So we've been talking about the specialty aspect of the Prado on the Go scholarship, in that this scholarship will award for students for their total cost as they persist in a low unit certificate. And we've talked about those low unit certificates being in business, child development, water and resource management, AJ, administration and justice, allied health, aviation maintenance technology. And I pulled some statistics thanks to Wade Grant, our new research analyst. Thank you, Wade, about where are we awarding the most certificates in those areas. And it looks like by far a lot of them are in administration of justice. So we award a lot of low unit certificates in that area, as well as in cosmetology, child development, business, and also our aviation maintenance technology program. So students are now, I'm sure, listening to this, Kim, and wondering what is going to be the window of time in which they can apply for the Prado on the Go scholarship. So what can you tell us about that?
So our scholarship season, I call it a season, opens up in early January, and the application period will go through May 15th, where application period will close. The review committees will review the applications and they'll select their winners for each of the scholarships.
And where can students go to find out what the criteria is, what they need to do to apply? Where do they go for their source of information?
We have a scholarship website on the Gavilan website. Look under financial aid. And there is a program there that you can log on to using your Gavilan ID number and password, where you will complete a short application, general application, and add up to 750-word personal essay, and then answer a few more questions and submit your scholarship application.
So tell me a little bit about that 750-word personal essay. Is that important, or can students just choose not to write it, or do the donors really listen to it or read it, or tell me about that?
I think the personal essay, the personal statement, is the most important part of your scholarship application. It's what makes you stand out from every other student that's applying for the same scholarships that you're applying for. It needs to be your story. Have you overcome anything in your life that you'd like to share about, but not only about what you've overcome, but what you've learned from those experiences? How you plan to use your education in the future, and what you want to do with that specific knowledge.
Okay, great. And then when do students get the award? When do they actually get the money if they're lucky enough to receive a scholarship for Gavilan?
If they're selected from the review committees here, and we have several review committees, over 60 people read these applications, they'll be notified early May, and then they'll be invited to our scholarship award ceremony.
And how many scholarships do we have? Do we have scholarships in different areas? Or the Prado on the Go scholarship is one of a few that we have, correct?
Correct. We, in 1920 academic school year, we gave away 113 awards.
Totaling how much?
It's about $120,000.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. This year, I expect it to be about 150 awards with the Prado on the Go, and some other ones. Extra Large Construction has also donated. So I assume that we're going to be close to 150 awards this year, and closer to $200,000.
That's fantastic. We have such generous donors in our community. Many people who provide the opportunity for Gavilan College students to persist and come to Gavilan College and pursue their dreams. So anything else you'd like our students to know about the application process for scholarships, or things that they should be aware of as we leave for the holiday season and then get ready for them to apply when they come back in January?
Just that I encourage them all to apply. The more people that apply, the better. We are going to be giving some application workshops in January and February. We will be offering those through the Career Transfer Center, and we really focus on personal statements and the writing of those personal statements. I know that several people who won scholarships last year attended those workshops, and so I really encourage students to join us for those.
That's great advice, Kim. Well, thank you very much. In fact, I know you're going through finals as well at San Jose State. Are you all wrapped up for this semester?
I finished last night.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you so much for stopping by the podcast to give us the information about how students can apply. We really appreciate you doing that. Thanks so much, and have a great holiday season.
Thank you. The same to you, too.